This is Rudkowski of WeAreChange.org, and I'm joined by the one and only Franchinator, Gary Franchie of the Next News Network, a good friend, a good buddy. A lot of people don't notice, but me and Gary, we've known each other. We've been working together since 2005. Yeah. 9 years. Yeah. We're OGs in this game, man. I'm expecting our Canes to come in soon. It's like 9 years. Has it really gone so fast?
It's been that long. I can't believe it really. I remember meeting you for the first time in Chicago at the 9/11 conference. I forget what it was. It was a 9/11 conference, and Alex Jones was there. He spoke. That was the first time I met Alex, and I met Burmis and Corey Rowe and Dylan, all the guys from the Loose Change crew, and
that was a great event you guys put together, because that's when you were doing the Lone Lantern
back then,
Society, and then you put that event together. It was one of my first major events that I went to. I went all the way to Chicago. It was amazing. You guys did a really great job, and it was such a young and up-and-coming movement.
Oh, yeah.
Just getting off the ground barely back in 2005, 2006. And I still remember how fresh everything was. Everything was like, where were we going to go? What were we going to do? We had a whole bunch of energy. But really just a great time. I remember we took the train.
Streets, remember? Yeah. I remember distinctly, because I had organized a march to go on the L. We took the train from O'Hare's hotel all the way downtown, and I remember, I'll never forget this. You had a book with you.
Yeah.
And it was like a flip book, and you were explaining all these different things to people, and you and I were talking last night about this book.
Yeah, the old school dirty book with a little binder you could put photos in there. That was my main go-to thing.
That was something else, man. Now it's smartphone, iPad. You don't need to carry around a huge binder
now
anymore.
You guys are spoiled. Back in the day, you used to have to go online on a slow-ass internet connection, download the best photos and articles you could find, print them out, put them in the binder, collect them, and then go out there and show people. You spoiled little kids with little iPads just scrolling through. We wish we had that. We worked hard for waking people up back then.
And then we burning DVDs.
Oh man,
how
was
many
a
DVDs?
pain in the butt.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of DVDs. I remember we got our first DVD duplicator. People were donating blank discs to us. We were making DVD compilations. I remember Burma sent 5,000 copies of Loose Change to us. And we went out and we hit the Chicago half marathon. We had all these bags with us. Yeah. We had shirts, and we were going up to people at the marathon going, "Oh, thanks for running. Thanks for participating." And we'd hand them a copy of Loose Change. Oh, that was some fun times, dude.
Anywhere we went, the CDs were blank, because when we made them ourselves, we didn't have enough time to actually put every little detail on there and make it look pretty.
You could Sharpie it, but even then, it's you're trying to mass produce these things so you can hand them out. YouTube was around back then. Even when my first website started, lonelantern.org, which was then stolen by a corrupt company. That's a whole other story.
There's a lot of that.
YouTube was just getting started. It was in its infancy. I was posting videos on lonelantern.org just as YouTube came around. And I was using peer-to-peer software, downloading videos, and just reprogramming my conditioning that I've been given all these years. But
I remember Google Video.
Google Video, yeah.
Google Video was a big one. I had a lot of videos on there, but then it just went away and out of nowhere. But I remember having these blank DVDs. We gave out 10,000 in one day in New York City on 9/11, and altogether, I'm estimating at least 250,000 of DVDs that I personally gave out. How many? You guys gave it a lot too.
We had a huge crew in Chicago, and we had meetings every week at a coffee shop, and then people we'd buy cases of blank DVDs, and we would just sit there and burn them, and then we learned about BitTorrent, and then we started seeding the master copies of these discs, and then the discs took on a life of their own, so people could copy, download, and create their own discs, and then it went worldwide, and that was what, in the infancy of BitTorrent when that came out. But there was so many different ways to get a message out back then, especially with Patriot Radio, and that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating because right now DVDs are obsolete. Like, there's no one who even buys DVDs.
Yeah.
There's no one. There's laptops without even DVD players in them anymore.
Yeah.
And it used to be our main go-to, like, kind of tool to awaken the masses.
Yeah.
And when we had the blank ones, I mean, we went out anywhere and just changed our, like, rhetoric just to fit. Like, we were outside churches being like, thank you so much for coming to church today. You need to see this for your congregation here. Very important information.
I used
and Wall Street being like, hey, how to make money
in the offering tray, at the church,
yes.
or I leave
I did that too.
You'd leave them behind. Or one of my favorite little go-tos was taking business cards, and every time I'd fill up my gas tank, I'd take the business card with like my website or some like factoid and stick it in the credit card slot of the gas pump.
Yeah.
So the next guy come by, he's got to take the card out and like, oh, what's this? Oh, LoneLantern.org. I'll check that out.
I used to put "Do not watch this" DVD in like Sharpies. I remember staying up to like 3 o'clock in the morning with Sharpies. Do not watch this, and just putting them anywhere and everywhere that I could. Yeah. Another thing we did is we had those deception dollars that looked like real dollars. We used to crumple them up all the time and just throw them on the floor everywhere we went, and people picked them up because they looked like real dollars, and then they had
crazy
blown.
Pictures like Bush and Condoleezza Rice and like Colin Powell. Those things are awesome.
I can't tell you what my friends did with those dollars at certain discrete places and what they got away with, but you let your imagination settle in. But there's a lot of slapping, too much details. But from 2005, now we're in 2014, there's obviously been a huge evolution. There's been such a major change in multimedia and getting the word out about what's happening. What do you think is the most important evolution? What do you think is the most important innovation that has taken place within the last number of years?
Well, I think right now, in the last couple of years, I really have to say smartphone applications have made a massive leap in technology and media distribution. And the ability for you to take a smartphone and record a video like we're doing now, and then with the increased bandwidth through like 4G LTE connections, you can stream live from your phone. You could upload video on the fly from your phone, and it really negates the need to have a $5,000 camera, which I still carry, but like I find like. It's a lot more cumbersome to pull that camera out, and then I got to record to the SD card. I got to make sure my microphone's all plugged in, and then guess what? Now I've recorded this video on this beautiful camera, but it's going to take me so much time to actually get it into the internet that it's easier for me to use my freaking phone and just bam, it's up and it's done. And there's even editing programs on the phones these days.
I know it's insane. How easy it's become. And
I think that is the greatest innovation, especially the work that you've done, Luke, with all those confrontations. I was talking to Luke last night, and we were reflecting the first time it was 2006. It was Phoenix. We were sitting on a bench outside of the airport, and Luke is telling me that he's got Rockefeller's home address. And I looked at him, I said, man, you're crazy, dude. I said, what are you going to do with it? He's like, well, I'm going to take his memoir and stick it in his face, and I'm going to tell him, what it says, and I'm going to ask him about it. I said, man, it's been nice knowing you, Luke, and that really started a whole movement of people, and you spawned something that was so cool. And there were so many critics, too. I mean, even I was critical at times, going like, man, what the fuck, what is he doing, man? Is it, But at the same time, you started something. You went out there and you made a mark, and people started emulating that, and it just became this whole movement. And it was all through small handheld devices and getting people on the record.
It's about having that. It started momentum, and of course it was very rough. It wasn't professional at all. Looking back, I'm kind of embarrassed at some of the things I did. I'm like, I could have done a lot better job. I could have been a lot more professional and calm and respectful in that situation, but I wasn't. But guess what? If I didn't make those mistakes, if I didn't have constructive criticism like I did from Gary and I did from everybody else, I would have never got better. And you see that also in your work. It's progressing all the time.
If you guys want to have a laugh, okay? If you want to get a laugh, you just type in like Reality Report episode 1 into your favorite search engine, and you will see you'll see bad lighting. I was like wearing a suit that was too tight, and like the graphics on the screen were just like covering the whole screen.
Green screen overlay.
Yeah, like just the worst video production. I mean, we had just built this TV studio in my basement of this rented house. My landlord wasn't too thrilled when we moved out, man. He was pissed. But that you start somewhere, you know.
Exactly.
You start somewhere, and now, I mean, dude, I'm on television now. I'm on TV in 3 major markets. We're broadcasting to 8 million households a night, and we're on YouTube. And I mean, like, we're making a difference now. You know, it's the growth and the evolution and the learning process. Luke, I got kicked out of television class my junior year of high school. I didn't have any professional training when it came to journalism or best practices. I had to learn myself.
Yep.
Now, people like Ben Swan out there, I mean, you know, he has professional training. He's polished. He knows how to deliver it. He's gone through the school. I mean, you and I, we had to learn the hard way, you know, and we've been doing it since, you know, 05, 06. And, you know, but it just shows the different levels of how you can deliver a message and what you can do to be most effective using technology at your fingertips.
And your progression is really like just eye-opening, because you know, and I hope it motivates people out there, because some people stop themselves from trying to be the media that they want to see in this world because they don't think they're polished enough, or they don't think that they're perfect enough. Yeah. Me and Gary, we were least from perfect. All right, me and Gary. Like like my first video, I cursed out a politician and ran away from security guards, and I thought they were gonna hunt me down and kill me. Yeah, I mean it was, but then looking back at it, I could have handled that situation better. But you know, the progression's there. We're slowly making it. We're doing a lot of great things. I know you've been busting your hump at this. Where do you see it ultimately going?
Well, I think it's ultimately you're going to see more people entering the video media marketplace. You're going to see more people creating Patriot Media, Liberty Media, so that it's just more voices, more opinions. That's where I see it going. You know, because the technology, the level of barrier to entry is so low that you're going to see a lot more of it. But that also means you have to practice a higher level of discernment when you're watching what you see, because just like Luke and I don't have the professional, you know, overall training to do this, and we've learned the hard way. Other people are going to have to go through the same levels of awareness and education. So you just have to practice more discernment when you're watching things on YouTube or wherever you're watching it. But I think it's all going to a better place, and the more information the American people have when it comes to like seeing the real facts, like the stuff that you do, Luke, is so organic and gritty that it's life in its raw form. So you cannot dispute when somebody is recording a cop beatdown or a politician lying to your face, or like Dan Bidandi, you know, he just got that state senator of Rhode Island, just, you know, F you. I mean, like, that's priceless stuff. So the more of that you're going to have, the more higher level of awareness you're going to have for the people in America and across the world, and ultimately that's just a positive.
I mean, the entry level is nothing. You have a cell phone. We're shooting this video on a cell phone right now. Don't be afraid to make any mistakes. Go after it. I see it as an amazing progression where right now it's no longer your word against an authority. It's the truth. It's live. There's evidence everywhere. You hold it in your pocket, and the future of not only independent media, but I think of our freedom is within your hands.
Literally. No, it's literally in your hands.
And in your pocket.
In your pocket.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can, going through a TSA checkpoint, pull out your phone, record it, you know, get the stupid pat-downs of kids in diapers, you know, getting groped because they think they're a terrorist. And, you know, I mean, there's just so many applications for these things. And, I mean, even, you know, taking like cell phone glasses, or the phone camera glasses.
That's what I did when I was patted down by the TSA.
Yeah, you know, you can get those things on eBay for like $35, shipped from China, you know, and you can have a massive impact with those as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really within your hands, not our hands. Like me and Gary, we've been doing it for a while. We're still going to be doing it. This is our life's work. But I think the more people out there who want to get out there, who want to do the right thing, who want to show the world the truth, if you're encouraged enough, if you feel it, there should be nothing stopping you, because you guys have it a lot easier than we did back in the day. And take advantage of it. I'm sure if people want to submit some work, they can contact Gary. They can definitely contact me as well. We're always looking for new up-and-coming young people who want to get involved.
Well, I think, you know, Luke, one thing that people always ask me is, like, how do I fund it? How do I fund my, you know, my operation? And, you know, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, I have to solicit donations to get support. You know, I have ads enabled on my YouTube channel, which actually helps. You know, helps pay the bills.
Yeah.
And one thing that folks out there you need to know is that you can create YouTube videos and get an AdSense account, monetize your videos, and the more work you do, it actually becomes this long-running train of perpetual videos that'll always be on YouTube as long as they don't delete you.
Yeah.
And it becomes a perpetual revenue stream. So the more videos you produce, the better and original the content is, the more views you'll receive, and the more revenue sharing you'll get from YouTube. And you can use that money to support yourself. You can use that money to support, to hire people, and it just grows and grows and grows. And I think that's the biggest question I get from people is how to support themselves. List building is very, very important, not just through Facebook or Twitter, but email capture.
Yeah.
Capture people's emails, have direct relationships with people through email. I use aweber.com for my service for email delivery. So build a good list of people and supporters, and then also get yourself your Google AdSense account and build up your social properties.
Be original. Don't try to be like anybody else. Don't try to be like some other personality out there. Just be yourself. Be genuine. Do stuff that's unique. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. You could survive. You could make a living doing this. Me and Gary are doing it. I operate the same way, mostly an AdSense account on YouTube, and that's how I help pay for virtually everything. I mean, it's you know, it's not a lot, but it helps pay the bills, and I'm you know, I'm able to survive.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm able to continue, I'm always going to do this, and that's because of your viewership and your participation as well. So that means the world to me as well.
Yeah, and when people share these videos, you know, and they help these videos go viral, it helps us.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, look, I'll take Google's money all day. You know what I'm saying? I'll take their money all day, and as long as I can, you know, put food on my table and support my family and support my crew, I'll keep doing it. You know, and as long as I got the support of the people out there, I'm gonna keep fighting forward.
I'm definitely looking for other independent revenue streams as well. YouTube does take a cut, and it's Google too at the same time, so it is conflicting, but at the same time, I'm working on other options and other alternatives, and we also have to learn to move away from Facebook. Facebook has been decreasing your views. They want people to pay. I mean, we have a page with over, you know, what is it, 170,000 likes on there. I had another one that had over 250,000, and they just took it away and gave it to Time Warner and sold it to them. Now the one I have, if you want to reach your audience, you got to pay $2,000. $2,000 just to reach your full audience. It never used to be like that. They're closing it down, and soon what people are saying is they're going to make it, if you do have a fan page, if you want anyone to see it, you will have to pay. Not that it will go out sporadically now, but you will have to pay every time you have a page, and that would pretty much destroy any kind of alternative small voices. So I think moving away from Facebook is extremely important. We got to start an email server as well. Haven't done that yet. Just been inundated with a lot of work, but I'm happy you got the email stuff set up. I got to do that as well. Any other tips and other recommendations?
Again, I'm glad you brought up the Facebook issue, because I remember when initially Facebook pages were like super effective, and I could actually put a link out, and I could watch on my analytics in real time. I could watch the traffic come in, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people hitting the links that were being distributed through the Facebook pages. And then all of a sudden, Facebook went public, they changed their model, and now maybe 200 people will see a link, if that.
Yeah.
If that. So Facebook has become virtually an ineffective location to distribute content. I use it simply just because, hey, I put it out there.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, I've got systems in place that actually automate a lot of the work I do. So I don't have to sit there and babysit it. One place I recommend people check out is sendable.com. You can set up RSS feeds to automatically publish to your Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, and that helps tremendously with managing the content.
Yeah.
So
I think it's helpful, especially for myself, just talking about this stuff, to help people understand what we're going up against, and then how to do it effectively. I think you do it very effectively. Really, thank you so much for being a friend for so long.
Oh yeah, Luke.
And really appreciate all the work you do. Check out the Next News Network. The link is in the description below.